Okay, a little bit different setting, but it's primarily because I am going to be going back to my parents' place tonight. So I want to be prepared in case my dad shows up. Everything is packed except for my laptop. Anyway, ideas on gaming. I'm thinking of getting back into trying to do some kind of game mastering, specifically working on an Eberron Pathfinder crossover with using like voice over IP and a variety of different online tools that'll enable me to use it. Currently I'm looking at 2 of them, but they don't seem very intuitive. I think I'm going to have to look through and see if they have any tutorials or something else like that I can use to figure out better how they work, because currently it doesn't look easy to be able to import a map and then be able to place character tokens on the map and maneuver characters around that map. That's really all I want to do. I don't care to have the rules in the system itself so that the system takes care of all the dice rolling and takes care of the character development and all that stuff. I really don't want it to do that. Like, that's something that I wanted the interaction with the player to do. I don't want, because if it's taking care of all the numbers, then it's almost as if, okay, I've said this before about other game systems, and I believe the future of role-playing games is a completely seamless system where players essentially describe what they're going to do, and they have a general idea in advance of whether or not they're capable of doing it, and then it either works or it doesn't. And that the mechanics are invisible to them. The way I want to run this game is not going to be that way. I know that sounds very unintuitive, but I really want to have that kind of interaction. I know it sounds strange, but whatever. Anyway, I've been doing some thinking about some variants that I want to work in. One of them is, well, of course, Eberron is a world in which good and evil are kind of, I would have to argue that good and evil are almost points of view. So no race is inherently good, no race is inherently evil. You have certain characteristics that go one way or the other, for instance, demons and angels and the like. But dragons, for instance, is one of the ones I caught on. And I was thinking, well, if good and evil are just merely points of view, then the 2 icons of the draconic pantheology should be inclusive. So I'm thinking that Tiamat, for instance, is now a dual form. It's like basically twin sisters. One is the baser animalistic side, which composes of the less intelligent dragons, like black dragons, and I think it's, bronze and copper are actually in there as well. I think. No, not bronze, copper. It's black, white, green, copper, brass, I think are those. Yes, some of them are tied with the blue dragon, but I wanted to include more of the evil dragons in the other side. And the other side is the scheming, and that long-term plans, long-term treachery, that sort of thing. And that would be the thinkers, so the red, blue, gold, silver, and bronze. Essentially, like, you'd say, oh, well, the characteristics of these dragons indicate that gold dragons would never do this, but this is the sort of thing that they can. That's the entire point of Eberron, that you could have evil gold dragons. Maybe their intentions are good, but their methods are dastardly. Whatever. And then, of course, the opposite side, the paragon of good, would be... I can't remember the name right now, but I always remember it as the Platinum Dragon. And they'd be known as the Platinum Dragon, but also as the Prismatic Dragon. Dragon of all colors. And it would shift hues through all of them, and it wouldn't just be the 5 heads individually. It would be all dragons in one, following the leader. Another thing I was thinking about is how to make armor, specifically heavy armor, attractive for players. Now you might say, well, why would you need to do that? It gives you high AC. Well, that's good up to a point. But after a certain point, heavy armor becomes problematic in that you have a lot of ranged touch attacks or just touch attacks, abilities that don't do anything about armor, they kind of ignore it, or armor class in general. And the only thing to be useful against would be those monsters that, like giants and dragons and such, that basically almost they have their attack bonuses buffed specifically so that you have to have incredibly high armor to be successful, and then if you don't have the highest armor, you might as well wear nothing. And I think that the higher levels of D&D, you end up with the argument from GURPS, which is the bulletproof nudity. The less armor you wear, the better, because it increases your mobility, it increases your dodge ability. It's better to have higher dex than to wear heavy armor. So I'm thinking that maybe medium armor would have a DR a DR non-type of 1 or 2, and heavy armor would have a DR type of 3 or 4. Essentially to encourage players to wear heavy armor, because it means that they're not going to, that even if a blow does connect, it doesn't do as much damage. Another idea I came up with was the contesting being hit. And that is every round, and I actually kind of got this idea from Warhammer 40k, that has a lot of abilities that you can, like invulnerable checks and such. And essentially what happens is that after all the hit rolls come in, if you get hit, you can contest that. You take your armor bonus, whatever your armor bonus is, and you roll d20. So typically it would still come out as 10, so like the average would come out at 10.5. And so it's no different than your basic armor class. But it gives the player, it does two things. A, it gives the player something to do in the monster round. It also gives, when the monster's doing something, so the players it increases the interactivity between the player and the game master. And it also gives a chance that the player will actually avoid it, because they've already been hit. What's the worst that could happen? They still get hit? So this is a chance. It increases the survivability of players, and it makes the players somewhat special. Because, strangely enough, I'm of the kind of guidebook that players aren't special. But what I mean by that is not that they aren't special in that they make special choices or they have special abilities or anything else like that. It's that there are other people who are like them who also have levels and classes. And that I don't feel that the best way of saying that player is special is by saying, oh, you're special because you're a character. No, you have to, there's something specific about the character that has to be special. And it's not just levels, because other people have levels. Anyway, those are my ideas that I have currently. I've got some campaign-specific ones that I want to share right now, because my players might end up watching this. But, yeah, more to come.